Hi, this is Dave with another Stamp Slave video. I was making a video yesterday using this heart punch, and it started sticking on me, and so I went in and fixed it, and I've been able to fix most of these things. Sometimes when Ann's customers have problems with their punches, they bring them to me and I can usually get them fixed. So I thought it might be good to make a little video and show you how I do it. It might save you some time. You know, not having to return things to Stampin' Up! And so forth. Now, a couple of caveats to that. One, if you're not pretty comfortable with using tools, I'd say maybe you don't want to try this because you want to be sure that you operate very safely. And, you know, I'm going to be using a screwdriver which is pretty sharp and so forth. You don't want to be jabbing things into your hand. So, by all means, do this safely, and if you're going to try it, be very, very careful. And the other caveat would be, I can just about guarantee you that Stampin' Up! Would not endorse this, so if you do this and then try to return it later on, they may not honor the warranty. But it's not difficult to do, so let me just show you a couple of things. I'm going to start with the older version, and then we'll see, and maybe I'll have to split this into two videos depending on how much time it takes. So the first thing I do is, for any stamp, or I'm sorry, any punch, I want to take a look at it and just get an idea of how it's put together. And there's a couple of clues here. You can see around this one, let me get it in the light. You can see right here there's this little notch or knob, I guess you'd call it. There's another here, and another on this side. And then you've got these two here. I'm not quite sure what those are. We'll see when we get into it. There, you can see that. I'm not quite sure what that is. These are significant to me, though, because that tells me that's probably a point where this thing is held together. Okay, so I'm going to start with the side, and as I look at this, I can see this top piece here comes down and goes all the way around the back. So as I'm doing this, I want to be careful not to ding it up and so forth, and I want to be go at it very slowly. So okay, I'm going to take the flat blade of my screwdriver and I'm going to push it in under the plastic here up against the metal, and I'm going to lift that a little bit so that I can pry up and get it off of the pegs there. So you can see now it's starting to come up. I can come clear around, and I'm gently going to use my screwdriver here a little bit just to pry these up. Come up on the other side and do the same thing. There. Now I've got it loose. You can see it's loose all the way around. And now as I'm doing this, one of the things I want to be really careful to do is look at how it comes apart. And the reason for that is I want to be sure I know how to get it back together. Okay, so you can see this whole thing's loose, and it's simply going to slide up and off of that handle like so. And now we can get to the guts of this thing. And we can look at it, very simple mechanism. It's just got this lever here, which fits into a slot, and then there's the fulcrum, which as you press down on the lever forces your punch down. So you can see it's a very simple mechanism. And to get at it, I'm just going to pull this up where it'll slide out like so. Now before I take this off, if I'm going to, I want to look at it and make sure I see how it's in there. Notice it's got a couple of little tabs here that face the back. I also can see, I don't know if you can see this here, but there's a little A1 right there, and again that's facing towards the back. So I noticed all of those things so that I know how to get it back together. Now I can gently pull this off, and sometimes you have to rock it a little bit. You don't want to force it at all, because this is where you could ding up the blade a little bit. There we go. And you can see here, this is the cutting blade, and this is the part that was getting a little sticky. In other words, when it was trying to get through the hole here, somehow it was sticking, and I can't really see where it was. I look around the edge and I look to see if there's any wear marks or anything, and I don't see any. So not knowing why it happened, what I wound up doing with this is I had heard about using wax paper. If your punches stick, one of the things you can try is using some wax paper. Just, you know, you would just slide it into the punch like you would any other paper and go ahead and punch on that. The theory being that will get some wax on the side of this and so forth. Honestly, I haven't had that much luck with that, so what I've taken to doing instead is I'll get just a little bit of just plain old canola oil, and just put a little bit in a saucer or something, put my finger in there, and then very gently put a very thin film of it around the side, like so. And if these things get in your way, sometimes you'll find that there might be a burr on here or something that's making it stick. And so if that's the case, what I'd suggest using is a very fine emery cloth. And you can get emery cloth at any hardware store or some places like that. Now, if this is in your way, these springs you can just pull out of your way and just get in there with the emery cloth to do that. You can get the springs out, but in this case it's pretty tight, so I wouldn't do it in this case. Okay, so let's say I've done all of that. I've gotten it all. I've made sure that all this is very smooth. I don't want to mess too much with the cutting edge there, because I don't want to dull that up. I just want to make sure that going this way, there's no burrs that I can feel. And then if I put my oil around the side, very, very light film of oil around the side. Now I'm going to put it back together. A couple of things to notice. Number one, we want to make sure we get it in the proper orientation like it was before. Number two, note here, when you go to put it back together, you see these little posts. Okay, that's where your springs need to go. Okay, so I'm going to put these back, and I'm going to do it very gently because I've got to get the cutting blade down in there at the same time as I'm making sure that those springs go back on the post. So do it as gently as you can. You don't want to cause any damage to that cutting blade while you're doing it. Sometimes it's a little tight. I'm going to actually put a little oil on this, so I'm going to turn off the video for a second while I do that. Okay, back on. I've got just a tiny bit of oil on my finger here. I'm just going to put a very thin film right around like this. Okay, piece of Kleenex. I'm going to go by and wipe off any excess. And then let's go back and try this again. Again, very carefully fit that in. You want to make sure it's straight up and down. Okay, now you can see I'm able with my fingers to compress that. I want to make sure that I can do that easily with my fingers before I start putting it back together. Note that my springs are on the little posts there that we talked about. Okay, look at each one of them and make sure it's still on the post. Okay, because that's going to keep this thing flat, and you don't want it getting cockeyed because that's what helps to cause it to stick. Alright, this goes back on the same way it came off. Let me see how I can make it some easier for you to see, like this, I guess. Okay, it goes in first, like so, then down, and that's what holds it in there. Notice the two tabs that we talked about are still there. Everything's pointing in the back. Now I'm going to test it again by using my lever, and it works fine. Let's see, get it under the camera there. Okay. Alright, now that I've got that, I'm ready to put the cap back on it. Alright, so here we go. Slide it on like so. And what I find easiest is to make sure that the front goes on first. Okay, so I want to get that down over the edge there, make sure that it fits flush, and then I'll go around and get the sides. So get that first. Make sure it fits down all the way around, and then the last one, it should snap on there pretty soundly. Okay, everything looks, look around here, everything looks to be flush. And now I'm going to test it one more time. Very smooth. And then the only other thing I need to do is run a few pieces of scrap paper through this just to make sure the oil doesn't get on a piece that I want to use. So run it through some scrap a few times, make sure there's no oil coming off on them, and you're good to go. Okay, that took a little while, so I'm going to make the other, do this one on another separate video. So thanks for watching, hope that's helpful.